Congratulations, DC. I told you the Garden was a special place. Did you feel that tonight?
It felt good, you know. A lot of cheers, a lot of people supporting me. It was very nice. Yeah, you walk into the Garden and you feel the championship history of the building, and I enjoyed performing here. I loved it.
You had talked about how important this fight was for you to feel like you were the champion. You went out and had a dominant performance. You know, how does it feel coming out afterwards? Do you feel a lot better than you did coming in?
Of course I do. You know, I had lost last time, you know, so now I can actually say I won a fight. You know, I won my last fight, which obviously feels better. And then to experience that again, you know, Dana putting the belt on you and, you know, going out there and just having a performance that you dream of. You dream of doing everything you did in training camp, and it works to a T. And today it did. You know, I felt like I may have had that submission at the end of the first round, but ran out of time and was able to get him back down and get right to the crucifix position and just start to punch and not get too excited to where he got out, but also just hold him there and really just beat on him until the referee had no choice but to stop the fight.
And last thing from me, you had talked about, you know, it's going to be Volkan's time, just not right now. And he came in here and talked about how much he learned from being in the octagon with you, but then he said, I will be a champion. Do you believe him when he says that?
You know, we talked in the back, and I told him, I said, you know, man, great job. You know, you fought hard. He threw everything with so much power and with so much intent to finish the fight. And I could feel his confidence. You know, I could feel his confidence. And if he's able to fight in that way, but shore up the holes that he has, yeah, of course he can become a champion. He's one of the younger guys in the division. I'm 38 years old, and I've said time and time again that by 40 I'll be done. So, you know, even if I was here for another year, I'm sure Volkan, it didn't take him long to get here in the first place. So I'm sure he can build himself back up to get to a title fight.
Hey, Daniel, were you surprised at all by the support out here from fans out here at the Garden when you came out, and especially after that first takedown? Did any of that surprise you?
It didn't surprise me because I've seen like a little bit of a shift since the last fight in terms of the level of acceptance that I've gotten from the fans. Because although you'll have some people sprinkled in there that still say stuff, you know, negative and kind of look past the fact that I may not have gotten a fair shake on a number of occasions, but the vast majority of people are just kind of like, man, this dude has some rough luck, you know? Just as he seems to have gotten past this black cloud in his career, you know, that happened. So I think at its core, people are still good, you know, and I think they may sympathize with me a little bit, and I think that's why you got the cheers and the crowd kind of being as loud as they were, and I really did enjoy it and appreciate it.
Hey, champ. Hey, congratulations. Very impressive performance.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So you had a pretty awesome couple of words to say about fatherhood at Media Day, and I noticed after the fight you had posted a really nice picture on Instagram with you and your family. Obviously better to get your belt, get a win, but win or lose, can you just talk about how special it is to share these types of moments with your family?
Well, you say win or lose, but like, this was the first time that my children have ever been to a fight. You know, my son and daughter have never watched me compete. My boy says he went when he was a baby because we didn't, you know, back in Strike Force, we couldn't afford a nanny. So we couldn't have anybody watch the kids. So we brought him. And ever since, we've really kind of left him home because of what happened last fight. You know, for my son, who's 6 years old, to see that would devastate him. But I'm 38 years old, and you know, it's time for them to start understanding what dad does. And I brought them, and they loved it. And they loved every moment of it. And I was able to walk right off the octagon and grab them and see my wife, Selena. And we get to go to the back and see my mom and my dad. And nothing's more precious to me than family. I mean, I love everything else. You know, I love, you know, championship belts and everything else. But nothing's more important than family. Because without them, I can't do any of this stuff. I had a team dinner last night, and there were 47 people from Louisiana and all around the country to come and watch me fight every single time. 47 people. In Anaheim, we had 75 people at my Friday night dinner. People from Louisiana and all around the country. So I appreciate these people because they uplift me. And they've been doing it since I was 15 years old. when I first started wrestling at the highest level. They've been uplifting me and allowing me to be who I am today.
Thank you, champ.
DC, congrats, my man.
Thank you.
What next for you? I mean, is there a name out there? I know you obviously want to enjoy this for now, take some time perhaps, but who do you have your eyes on as a guy that will challenge you next?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know, you know, and you know I'm not above calling somebody out. I've done that time and time again over the course of my career, but it's just like right now it's like I've been through a lot, right? And after getting beat in that last fight and finish for the first time, I've learned to just kind of take it all as it is, like one at a time, let myself just enjoy the work, because every time I fought, every time I won, it was always get back home and just go like, let me get to the next guy. Let me get to the next guy. Right now, I just kind of want to go home, and I got a 7 o'clock flight tomorrow morning to get back to California, because I get home and I go to the back of my cul-de-sac and I can mow my grass or I can walk my dog, and nobody's like, they don't care. It's like, hey, DC, good job. Daniel, not even DC. Hey, Daniel, good job last night. And all my neighbors go about their business. And I like that. You know, I like kind of just being normal a little bit. I love to fight. I love the adrenaline. I love the crowd. I love the everything. But I'm going to enjoy this next month where I have nothing on the schedule to spend with my family.
One of the reasons I ask is I'm not a guy who likes to stir the dookie, so to speak. But your boss, Dana, apparently said on FS1 on the post-fight show that a fight that he would like to see is you against Stipe Miocic.
Yeah.
Is that anywhere within the realm of possibility for you? Because I know we asked you earlier this week about would you ever go back up to heavyweight?
People have talked about that for a really long time, you know, and I mean, I did fight 13 fights at heavyweight, you know, so, and I hate cutting weight, as you guys all know. I mean, I'm the only guy that gets a rousing ovation every time he steps on the scale and makes weight. Like, guys, he's supposed to make weight. What are you cheering for? But I haven't really thought about it. You know, especially it's hard for me now because Cane's in the gym more. Cane's in the gym now, getting back prepared to do what he does best. So I draw so much from him, right? Cane had a baby about a month ago, and he's here with me right now. I didn't even know. I didn't bother to ask him if he was coming to the fight because I didn't know if it was possible because of the new baby. But Wednesday afternoon, Cane comes in my room with his bags, and he's there for my weight cut. Dude's never sauna in his life. He was shriveling up like a grape. He looked like one of the California raisins by the time we were done with that sauna. But he's there, and I draw inspiration from him. And if he's getting prepared to get that belt back, then that I have nothing for that division.
Gotcha. I appreciate
It'll never change.
DC, how you doing? Hey, congrats. You were talking about with Stipe and that kind of talk, and you and Stipe both won. You know, the fans come here and they want to see the knockout. And you guys won your fights on the ground with your wrestling experience. And what do you, when you can do that to your opponent, do you think that just sucks the energy out of your opponent?
It does. It's discouraging, right? It's very discouraging to have a guy able to hold you down and do whatever, we did to those guys. At the end of the second and third round, Stipe was literally just holding Francis's head down. People don't understand how exhausting it is to try to build your body back up when a 245-pound man is just pressing your head down. The ability to impose yourself on someone is the greatest aspect of wrestling that a lot of people don't understand that's never done it. So, I could have stood there with Volkan and fought him. I heard him a couple times in the stand-up. But the path to victory should always be chased in the easiest way. And the easiest way for me, especially after the first round, because when I took him down at the end of the first round and was able to get that choke so easy, I was like, oh, man, this is a huge, huge difference in terms of our grappling skill. So I said, let's put him back there.
One more thing about Stipe, just being the first heavyweight to win 3 straight title defenses, and, just your thoughts about that.
It's very impressive. I said this in the build-up. I go, Francis is a great guy and a great, fantastic fighter, but what's getting lost in this whole deal was that you're talking about a guy in Stipe Miocic that's going to break a record and become the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. And it's very impressive because you got guys like Randy Couture and Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum and Junior Dos Santos that couldn't get 3 done. You know, that's crazy that these guys have never done 3 because that division is so dangerous. So for Stipe to do it tonight against the most dangerous opponent that he's had, very impressive. Hats off to him. He's a great guy, great champion. I had a great time with him in Cleveland, learned a lot about him, and nobody deserves it more than Stipe Miocic.
Would you put him number 1 all time? You said that kind of impressive.
Heavyweight?
Yes.
It's him and Kane. Everybody else is everybody else is kind of just like they're there. But Cain Velasquez and Stipe Miocic are the 2 best heavyweights of all time. And today this fight was built as the biggest heavyweight fight we've had in a long time. The biggest heavyweight fight that we'll ever have is when those 2 guys actually fight each other.
So you would still put him 1A, 1B? Could you put him 1 or 2 with somebody?
I'm never going to say he's better than Cain Velasquez. What are you doing? But he's good. He's just as good. Those
Okay.
guys are even. Yeah,
Thank
they're
you.
just as good.
Thanks, I
It's
appreciate
going to be a
it.
great fight.
Hey, Daniel. In the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, you put over Khabib, you put over Kane. Where was the love for your boy Luke?
Luke's I don't know. I was just, you know, the guys were here. The guys were here. That's why I talked about him. You know, I understand that Luke is in the middle of training camp right now, so he can't be here. But I saw Khabib and hugged him right as I left to go to the octagon. I saw Kane and hugged him right at the tunnel before I went to the octagon. So their names popped in my mind. But good try. Luke's my boy. So it ain't gonna happen. Luke's my boy. Yeah, he texted me right before the fight and said, "I love you, brother. Go and do your thing, because there's no one like you." So there really is no dissension between us and Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold's one of us for the rest of his life. We love him, and as I've said time and time again, you guys don't know what Luke's going through personally in the Bay Area. Very courageous of him to make the move down to Florida, because it's hard to leave your comfort zone. It's very hard to leave your comfort zone, and he did that. And I believe that he's going to be better for it. And we're going to be there to support him as much as we can.
And for the record, I wasn't trying to set you up. Just want to know.
Yeah, you were.
Just want to give you a platform to give him a shout out. You know, maybe you forgot in the octagon. And just one more question for you. Obviously, John Jones is going to have this hearing next month. Have you got a message for him?
Nah, I'm just kind of, I want to see what happens. You know, I think not only I'm just past it right now. Until he's able to do what we want to do, and that's fight, kind of past it. You know, so I'm kind of in a bit of this spot when it comes to Jones. Competitively, all I want to do is fight him again. But at some point, it's just like, man, is it ever going to be just a fight without nothing else? And I don't know if I could put myself through that again, you know? I mean, I've done everything right, and I've just been dragged down by this guy constantly. So I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to do my thing for right now.
Hey, DC. Congrats on the win, man.
Thank you.
Where do you find the confidence to stand with these, and no disrespect, but you're a little shorter than these guys that you're striking with. Where do you find the confidence to stand with the Volkan and with the Jones?
I mean, it's part of fighting, right? Every fight starts on the feet. I mean, I would love to start in the down position. That would be great for me. Could we start in the I'd love to start grappling, but that's not how it works. And you know what the truth is, man, honestly? I feel like I have the greatest coaches in the world. Javier Mendez, Rosendo Sanchez, Rudy Cruz. Those guys in stand-up, I mean, nobody's like them. Jav's a world champion kickboxer. Rosendo was an Olympic alternate. Rudy's a professional boxer. I mean, and then I got these training partners in Tony Johnson and Tiago Beowulf and Frank Munoz. Like, we got these guys that are just high-level guys that train with me every day, and I take confidence from them. But my coaches, I got 2 coaches that drive 5 hours each day to train me 3 times a week. Rosendo drives 2.5 hours each way to train me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Rudy does it from Fresno on Monday and Tuesday. It's like these guys are making sacrifices. I can call Jav anytime. He's got bad elbows at times because we kick him so hard. He has to hold pads for me, Khabib, Luke, and Kane back to back. But if we call him, he shows up. He holds the pads and he tries to prepare. So I've got great coaches and a great team. We're the American Kickboxing Academy. You better learn to strike in there, even though I'd prefer to wrestle.
Thank you.
Hey, Daniel, how's your right hand?
My hand is messed up. I broke my thumb in high school, and it's knotted up right here behind the thumb again. So I'm gonna have to go to a doctor on Monday to see what exactly is going on. But I've had enough of type of hand injuries to know that something's just not right.
And just one more. In July, obviously, it was emotional. You weren't up here. You've been up here before with the belt. You've done the post-fight press conference. Do you appreciate this a little more after what happened a couple of months ago?
You know, I do. I've always appreciated it. I appreciate it every year. You know, like when I was 30 and 31 years old, maybe not so much. But as I start to get closer and closer to the end, I do appreciate it. And I appreciate it from trying to build back from a loss and trying to feel like I had some success in the job that I do. You know, I love to fight. I love to compete. And I was able to get a win tonight. You know, that last time I was in the hospital, right? When the press conference was going on, I was at the hospital. So if not for anything else, to be able to look at my mom and not see tears in her eyes, and look at my wife and not see a look of confusion, or wake up on Sunday morning and hear my son, who came to the fight for the first time. You know, the whole Jones thing, it sucked. I lost the fight and I got beat. I got my ass kicked. And I cried in the octagon. I cried before I went to bed. But you know what I cried the most was when Sunday morning I'm laying on the couch and my kids are in bed with their mom, and my boy rolls over and he taps his mom, because every time he'd never go to the fights, he wanted to know if his dad won. And you know what I heard at 7:30 in the morning in Anaheim? He tapped his mom and he goes, "Mom, did Dad win?" And she said, "No, Pop, he didn't win this time." And I was laying there. I could hear him. So I got my back to him and I'm crying. And not long after, I feel like my boy behind me hugging me, you know. That was the hurtful thing. So for him to get to experience the other side of it is big for me. And my daughter and my family. It's all family to me. So I appreciate this, but I appreciate them being able to smile tonight instead of shedding tears.